Hello everyone and welcome to PendulumEdu, and I am back with another vocabulary session for you guys right here. So we're going to work on another set of words, new words for you guys, and these words would definitely help you in your vocabulary section, in your when it comes to enhancing the vocabulary part. Okay, so it's gonna help you a lot. See here why this session is beneficial for you, because we don't do just words and meaning with you. We give you the contextual meaning, that is, whatever way the word is used in a sentence, we explain you the meaning there and there. So let's begin with today's article. The article hits as the triumph of hope on Jacinda Ardern's election victory. So this is Jacinda Ardern's election victory, if you are aware of the New Zealand elections. Okay, so this is about that. And it's triumph of hope. Triumph, we all know that is a victory. Okay, it's a noun, which means in Hindi we say Vijay, kisi cheez par. Okay, so there is a triumph of hope. ऐसे माना जा रहा है, there's this ray of hope that the victory would come. Now, victory in terms of what a victory they wish or they want, that is in his election term, that will be discussed in the article. We'll come to know. Now, this person's election victory has been discussed here. Inclusive politics and decisive governance won another term for Ardern in New Zealand. Inclusive politics and decisive governance, that means these two things have what they say, that they have won another term for Ardern in New Zealand. This means that because he always ensured that the politics that he did, or the steps that he took included everyone. Okay, it was the decisions made were not solely his own decisions. He kept in consideration, he took into consideration each and everyone's point of view, or whatever possible people are in the arena. Okay, and decisive governance. Now, the governance that he did was decisive, that was well on point. Okay, it was logical, it was legit, it was sensible. Alright, it made sense to people there. So he has all these qualities in his the term that he has served earlier. These qualities have won him another term because people just loved him. Jacinda Ardern was expected to win Saturday's parliamentary election in New Zealand, given that almost all opinion polls had predicted this for the 40-year-old global liberal icon. So what they say, that almost the opinion polls that have been there, they have predicted this for the 40-year-old global liberal icon. He's 40-year-old. What is the term? 40-year-old global liberal icon. If you see, this is the term, or this is a phrase used for this man. And this phrase that has been used, if you see, it has multiple adjectives. 40-year-old, global, liberal, and then you have the noun that is icon. So here, if I talk about, there are multiple adjectives attached. What the writer has done, the writer has given these many adjectives about him to describe his personality. The adjectives have been attached to one particular noun. The order of adjective has to be on point, they have to be correct. Now, so what he did, he was expected, it was definitely expected that he will win this election. Okay, and noted for his inclusive politics and tough handling of the coronavirus pandemic. Noted, that is, he's praised for it. He has been considered, मतलब माना जा रहा है कि भाई उन्होंने इतने बेहतरीन तरीके से he has handled the pandemic. Okay, also the politics that he does, or the skills that he has when it comes to the political agendas. So it was well predicted that he is the one who is going to win yet again. But it was the margin of the victory that surprised many. Like, margin of the victory means the opposition, or the person who was standing against him, or was the competitor, or was in competition, he lost just by a few maybe votes, because that was the margin of the victory. So this is what the margin of the victory surprised many people, because people were amazed at why the people won't prefer him over the other person. And if there's, let's say, 49 and 51% weighted, because this was the amount, 49 to 51%. So he has won just by margin, otherwise it would have been a tie, or maybe the other person could win. Her centre-left Labour Party won 49.1% of the popular vote and is projected to take 64 seats in the 120-member parliament. So if you see her, the centre-left Labour Party, it has won 49.1%. And this is the popular vote that it has won, and 64 seats in 120-member parliament. It has 120 member, and the number of seats that her party has is 64 seats that her party has. This is Labour's greatest victory. This is Labour's greatest victory in almost 50 years, and the biggest victory of any party since the nation adopted a proportional representation voting system. Now they say that this victory has been the biggest victory if you go back in history, like 50 years back. If you just go, this is the biggest victory that the party has come up, or any party has come up, after the adoption of this, that is proportional representation voting system. So after adoption of proportional representation voting system, this victory, or the victory by the Labour Party, has been the biggest one until now. Now this gives assembly seats to any party winning more than 5% vote in 1996. So in 1996, proportional representation voting system was installed, or it was brought into practice, or it was implemented. You can say it was implemented. All right, and this system it gives the assembly seats to any party which wins more than 5% vote. It gives assembly seats to that party. The opposition centre-right National Party, now this is centre-left Labour Party, the centre-right National Party won 26.8% of the vote and is projected to take 35 seats, down from the 56 seats it won in the previous election. So in the last election, this opposition party, it had 56 seats, but this time it could possibly grab 35 seats. That's it. Ms. Ardern, who came to power in 2017 by forming a coalition. Coalition is a noun which means an alliance or a cooperation. Alright, कहते हैं ना किसी को गठबंधन, तो यूजुअली आपने देखा होगा जो पार्टीज होती हैं, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज, अगर वो खुद अकेले स्टैंड नहीं कर सकते तो किसी के साथ गठबंधन कर लेते एंड कोलिशन में एग्जिस्ट करते हैं. तो 2017 में मिस आर्डन, शी ऑल्सो डिड द सेम. उन्होंने कोलिशन लाया था विद द ग्रीन्स एंड द नेशनलिस्ट न्यूजीलैंड फर्स्ट पार्टी. इसके साथ उन्होंने अपना coalition बनाया था, and it faced unprecedented challenges in her first term. Unprecedented, that is an adjective which means something that is not seen or experienced before, something not known or seen बिफोर, ऐसा जो पहले कभी नहीं देखा गया या एक्सपीरियंस किया गया, जो एकदम नया है, दैट इज अनप्रेसिडेंटेड. सो उन्होंने अनप्रेसिडेंटेड चैलेंजेस फेस किए हैं अपने फर्स्ट टर्म में. फ्रॉम द क्राइस्टचर्च टेररिस्ट अटैक एंड द व्हाइट आइलैंड वोल्केनिक eruption, okay, to the COVID-19 outbreak. If you see right here, if it's like COVID-19 outbreak, New Zealand has been great in news because these lady powers, you know, there was an article wherein all the nations led by ladies or females, they could manage COVID well as compared to the other countries and nations. Though this is This is not the reality, though there are many nations with the male leaders also who have well managed it, but like primarily this was considered, and it is true as well. So she had to face these many challenges in her first term itself: the terrorist attack, the volcanic eruption, and then the outbreak due to COVID-19. So all these were the challenges that she had in the very first term, and still she stood through. She herself had turned the polls into a de facto referendum on the government's handling of the pandemic by calling it the COVID election. Now what she did, she called the election as COVID election. The term that was given was COVID election. What she did was she herself had turned the polls. She had turned the polls into, de facto was used here as an adverb, that means in fact. Okay. So in fact, a referendum on her government's handling. So referendum is a noun, alright? So it is a general vote. Alright, it's a general vote that comes up for a direct decision or a direct question that has been put forward to. So she has already turned it into a referendum for her government's handling, okay, the pandemic, and she called it as COVID election. She has given this a term, okay, that is a COVID election. She herself did that. Further, if you see, New Zealand, home to over 5 million, recorded just 25 pandemic deaths. If you have a look at it, it was 5 million people, over 5 million people. If you see, it is a home. There are these many citizens in New Zealand, but only there are 25 deaths. One of the lowest fertility rates in the world. Fertility is a noun which means death or any sort of mishap. ठीक है, यूजुअली डेथ की बात होती है तो वो फर्टिलिटी होती है, हिंदी में हम कहते हैं विपत्ति. तो ये लोएस्ट फर्टिलिटी रेट है अगर आप पूरे वर्ल्ड में देखें तो. See, out of 5 million, just 25 deaths, and rest, it has eliminated community transmission by imposing strict lockdowns and brought back relative normalcy before the elections. Normalcy is noun, that is a state, or a normal state. That is a samanya sthiti. Samanya sthiti. So it has ensured, it has made sure New Zealand had made sure that it imposed a strict lockdown, and there were strict lockdowns there, and it has brought the nation back to normalcy before elections. So this was a target, and if you see the fertility rate, it was the lowest of all. If you compare with other nations in the world. What makes Miss Ardern's victory significant is that her brand of politics, that is socially liberal, economically inclusive, and politically democratic, has bucked the trend of conservatives. Has bucked the trend. Buck means, it's a verb which means to overturn. कितना किसी चीज को to किसी चीज को सरपास करना, वो आगे बढ़ चुकी है, तो उन्होंने किस ट्रेंड को खत्म कर दिया है? It has ended or completely destroyed the trend. किस ट्रेंड को खत्म कर दिया है? The conservatives and the anti-immigrant, anti-minority, far-right parties making gains in crisis-ridden societies. So the parties who were making or who were taking advantage of the mishaps or the misouts in the society or in the nation, this party and this lady, the leader, she has ensured that all these things are left aside, and the things that are to be considered are that it has to be, the party has to be socially liberal, it has to be inclusive, it has to include anyone and everyone so that the economy prospers, and it was democratic when it comes to the political decisions or political agendas. So this is what has brought her so far, and this is what have been the major reasons behind her success so far. Offering a new way of governance, she presented herself as an empathetic co-citizen. So empathetic is an adjective which means sensitive, or you can also term it to be close to someone who acknowledges others' feelings. Okay, that is empathetic. कहते हैं सहानुभूति जताना. Okay, सहानुभूति जताना, that is empathetic. So that's she's been an empathetic co-citizen who happens to be running the government because she's sensitive enough. She's sensitive towards the citizen of her nation. She looks forward, she looks after them, and she works for them. So that is one thing that has been mentioned. This approach was successfully tested when a far-right terrorist opened fire at 2 mosques in Christchurch in March 2019, killing 15. This approach, that is the empathetic approach, was seen when the terrorist attack was there in Christchurch in 2019, that is March 2019, and there were 51 people who were killed. So the decision that she took later on, the steps that she came forward with, they clearly showcased that the approach that she has always been empathetic. She's always been considerate about the citizens of her nation. वो हमेशा उनके बारे में सोचती है and सहानुभूति जताती है. So ऐसा नहीं है कि that all she cares about is politics. Then the writer says she immediately reached out to the country's Muslim minority and backed a bill that banned most assault-style weapons. जो सबसे attacking होते हैं, okay, weapons, उनको उन्होंने क्या कर दिया? Oh, she has banned them all. तो ये जो step था, ये जो approach थी उनकी, showed that how considerate or how compassionate she is towards the citizens of her country. She has also promised to alleviate child poverty. Alleviate. This is an amazing word, a beautiful word that is commonly asked. Alleviate is a verb which means to lessen. Kam karna. Okay. So she promised that she would alleviate, she would lessen child poverty and fight climate change more vigorously. Inclusive politics and a human approach, that is a kind approach, coupled with quick decisive actions to tackle crisis, transformed her into the most popular New Zealand leader. But the emphatic victory also means great expectations. The lockdowns have had a heavy economic cost, a contraction by 12.2% in April-June. Now, it says that the inclusive politics and the kind of approach that she has, okay, and she always had, coupled with the quick decisive actions, the way she manages the crises that come forward or that come her way, she has quick decisions to make, she has apt decisions to make, okay, on the right time. And this is the reason she's transformed into, or she has become the most successful leader that New Zealand has as of now. But the emphatic victory that she had recently also means great expectations. अब जो if she has won, जैसे कि वो जीत चुकी है election well, but इसके साथ साथ उनके कंधों पर बहुत responsibilities भी आती हैं because people are expecting more out of her now. Okay, that this is the reason they have voted for her. The lockdowns have had a heavy economic cost, a contraction by 12.2% in April-June. So the economy has contracted. See, not just for New Zealand, for any country. आप किसी भी देश की भी बात करें, अगर पैंडेमिक के बीच हम बात करें, then definitely हर country में economy जो है वो crush हुई है, पूरी तरीके से crush हुई है. Alright, तो उसको revive करने में, economy को पुनर्जीवित करने में, it will take some time. Similarly, here also, there's a contraction of 12.2% in April to June, and that has to be again revived. One of the criticisms she faced during the campaign was that she did not have a recovery plan. The COVID-19 threat is still looming, it's still there, it's still, wandering. It is a wandering, like looming. I would give you, it's a verb which means having vague appearance. Having vague appearance मतलब पूरी तरीके से अभी कहाँ, it has not gone, it is still there. वो वहाँ मंडरा ही रहा है, मंडराना कह सकते हो. It is still there. एक होता है कि स्पष्ट तरीके से सामने नहीं है वो चीज़, बट वो चीज़ है अभी भी. If you see other countries are facing trouble, if you talk about our own country India, वो खुद भी इससे अभी भी लड़ रहे हैं. She will have to prove her critics wrong and live up to the expectations of those who supported her while ruling for, what she said, all New Zealanders. So this is the phrase that she used in one of her speeches, okay, and she addressed as all New Zealanders. She wants to work for all New Zealanders, like Indians, similarly New Zealanders. So the things that come up with the victory is a lot of expectation and a lot of responsibility, and people wish and believe that she would live up to their expectations and she's going to do a great job. Alright, so the article also ends right here. So this was the entire article for the New Zealand elections and polls. Kindly go through the words that we have discussed. The list of the words is there on the side and the link is given below in the description. So go below, click on the link and get the list of the words right in front of you. Start practicing them. Alright, I shall see you soon in the next session. Do not forget to hit the like button and share the video with your friends. Also subscribe to the channel for regular sessions with us. Thank you so much.